Do you think an impeachment is impossible?
Well, no, it's not impossible because, I mean, you never want it, you never want to say it's impossible. Because then you atrophy the functions, you know, the impeachment function itself. You got to keep it alive. But more is just demand resignation of the top two. I mean, you know, Agnew and Nixon resigned for far less. You just got to keep the resignation. That's the world can't wait, you know, and pushing. They're having a rally in Washington in the first week of January. How many of you have heard of World Can't Wait? Yeah, they put, you know, some big time ads in the New York Times and so on. But that is a preferable thing because it gives people something to do. When you talk about impeachment, you automatically say, will the House of Representatives? When you talk about resignation, it's a crescendo demand, which may spill over into impeachment.
So would you wear an impeach Bush button for a photo?
We were in on that.
By the way, that's
The trouble is, nobody looked at our website. No. How many people looked at our website? See what I mean? This is a select audience. Let's have it again. How many people looked at our website? No. We had 15,000 people or so signing in impeachment.
I have a question for you. In this last presidential race, what was the most surprising thing that happened?
That Kerry didn't pick up on three simple things that could have won him going away: living wage, labor law reform, and cracking down on corporate crime.
And
all of which was
meeting with him, right? You met with him.
Yeah. That's what we said. It was in May '04. I said, look, there's no disagreement. You believe in cracking down on corporate crime? Sure, I was a prosecutor. You believe in labor law reform, card check, etc.? Yeah, I signed on to the bill. You believe in living wage? Yeah, we haven't done anything with it in years. I said, well, let's go right outside your office now, the press is there, and say, let's go after Bush. He wouldn't do it. Instead, he started a campaign with the DNC to get us off the ballot in all kinds of interesting ways. But there it is, right there. I mean, what can you do with a party like that? And the reason is that he stood up in New Jersey in front of a whole business, you know, dinner, was raising money, and he said, I am not a redistributionist. How about that? That'll go down in Marxist tradition. Yeah.
Well, so can the Greens put forward a positive ethical vision that can challenge the Democrats and to aspire to a higher set of ideals? For example, with regard to ending the war, that it's not just an anti-war position, but a positive vision of a foreign policy that would be based on rebuilding the Middle East, resisting terrorism by seeking to end poverty in the Middle East through acts of generosity that draw people off from fundamentalist religious fanaticism. Can you articulate a positive vision like that can be used as a challenge? In fact, I hope you'll speak about this tonight. Yeah. A challenge to the Democrats to raise the bar rather than only criticize them for their inadequacy.
Yeah. Well, the question is, how can they deliver it? I mean, how can the Greens deliver it? It's not that they haven't proposed it. It's hard to improve on the Green Party platform. You know, it's not that they. It's how do they deliver it? They're not quite willing to go to Washington and deliver it. You know, in rather formidable ways. But you know, the question is, where's they there? I mean, their states, the whole thing's disintegrated.
You're speaking of the Greens?
Yeah.
What role do you think electoral reform will play in changing things? I'm thinking, for example, of instant runoff voting movement, which is becoming quite successful, has some real momentum, proportional representation movement, and so on.
The thing is to pile on the Democrats on public funding. That's really somehow they don't resonate with instant runoff.
But it seems like public funding of elections, there are always 1,000 loopholes that come behind.
Yeah, but it keeps the other side on the
and
fence.
it seems futile, in other words.
Yeah.
It seems like something like instant runoff voting or PR systems, starting locally as they have been, have more long-term promise.
Well, that's where you can get it done at the local level. But you know, Dean has come out for it, McCain has come out for it, Kerry wouldn't come out for it, Edwards didn't come out for it. I don't know what it is. I mean, they could have won elections with that.
Right.
They're not thinking boldly. Listen, look, when you have a mindset, a de minimis mindset, the most obvious breakthroughs, pioneering breakthroughs are not on your radar. See, that's the problem.
Let's take one or two more questions, and then I want to give Ralph a chance to have some food, have some wine, and sign some books. The books are here for
Yeah,
$25.
a lot of the things are in this book. I mean, you'll see
Couple
the
more questions.
potential here.
How about some women? We
see.
haven't had any women ask any questions.
Why is that?
Melissa? Laura?
Why is that?
Yes, here.
I'm a woman. And I'm also a professor, and I am oftentimes at a loss of what to tell my students when it comes to getting involved, and they seem kind of apathetic. And I try not to get depressed about it, but I'm wondering if the Green Party has come up with ideas or anything you could tell somebody like me who tends not to lose hope, but at certain points it's really, really hard, and it's therefore really hard to actually communicate to a younger generation what to do.
Well, one is the history. You know, you show what their forebears did at their age, like in the 60s. That's the Civil Rights War, so on, women's rights. That's one. The second is you cling on to their own perceived injustices. I mean, they're worried about student loans. They're worried about health insurance when they graduate, and they're worried about a number of things like that. The draft, you know, maybe they're worried about that. The drug wars, they're worried about their jobs being outsourced, even if they're engineers or accountants. So you go to their immediate horizon of when they are 21, 22. And that's the old thing that Alinsky said. You know, you go with the perceived injustices that are surrounding their own daily life. And then what you do is you start using a little shame. You know? After a while, it becomes rather squeamish to play down to it. You should never play down to it. I have a lot of professors tell me that they're far more radical, progressive than the students. Oh, they got a captive audience. What are they waiting for? Right? So,
I'm interested in how you account for the media frenzy around Barack Obama, and how does the Green Party intend to deal with that or counteract it?
well, we'll know more in 2 weeks when he decides, 2 or 3 weeks. He's, you know, his 2 years have not been that distinguished. He has a good way of speaking, and I don't mean oratory, just a sort of little fresh way of using words that up against the dullness of political language has illuminated him. But, you know, you can come at it from a lot of different ways, in the sense that maybe he's the only person that could deal with Hillary, you know, could put a roadblock there. But maybe he'll flame out. Here's how I judge all politicians when I hear them speak. How many times they use the words corporate power, corporate abuse, corporate injustice, and how many times they talk about poverty, discrimination, in a real sense. And most of them don't do that. You know, the Democrats have gotten into this rut, self-performed rut, of talking about the middle class. You remember Clinton's speech? Never would use the word poverty. It's the middle class, the middle class. Edwards is the only one who uses that. And he's going to announce the ninth ward.
He announced this morning.
He
Yeah.
announced this morning.
So why don't we give folks a chance to get a book, and Ralph, you can sign it. And I want to kind of walk
Did you go?
Yeah, Grace, yeah, no, my Grace family.
How long did it take you to write it?
My sister just recently had her picture taken with McCain.
Yeah.
I'm going to send her a picture if I could. Tell her to get with the program.